I don't think I know Squirm.
From Big Whiskey.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I probably know it. I just don't know the names of those. Probably recognize it.
I don't think it's Shotgun, but that's the same guitar as Shotgun. It's probably Squirm. Yeah, the Flying D, yeah. It's gonna be Squirm.
Just get out the Flying D.
as you watch the dead man swing. Above all things, if kindness is your key, then heaven will be yours before you reach your ending.
Live from Connecticut. It's your boy Conserviz 34. We got tour dates, folks. We got tour dates. And we got some more tour dates. Thank you guys for joining me today or tonight. We're going to talk about this 2022 tour. We have a lot to talk about, so much that I will still have a stream tomorrow, 10 p.m. I will still have a stream Saturday, 10 p.m. And also, if you get off here at 8 p.m., check out my girl on Instagram, Trish DMB. I'm going to show you her page because she's going to be talking. And she's excited about the Florida dates. There are a bunch of Florida dates. Victoria, good to see you. Thank you for checking in. Kaylee, thank you for checking in. Kaylee, we're going to talk about something that's going to signal us that there is an album coming. We'll get to that in a moment here. And we'll talk to you, Luke, about what shows you guys want to see. But this is Trish DMB. Let me show you her page. At 8 p.m., she will be going live. Follow her on Instagram, Trish DMB 23. Hit that follow button. She's an amazing person. I was able to meet her in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun. And so follow her at 8 p.m. Eastern. When my stream ends, go over there to Instagram. And again, we're going to talk more tomorrow as well. If you guys missed it, I want to show you guys a pretty funny intro video here that I did for the tour date announcement. It was 30 minutes long. Thank you, everyone who watched that video and got through it. I was literally trying to make it as short as possible, but it ended up being like 30 minutes long. And it just, there was so much information, so much excitement. I could not keep it smaller. But let me show you this intro. If you guys saw it, I tried to do a little bit more than usual here. So I'm going to show you this here. Give me, and I'll be right back. I want you guys to see this. Amy, I'm sorry you don't get to go if you can't make a DMB show, but we'll definitely be sharing our videos and telling you how it is. And hopefully there is some way that you're able to see a show. Let me show you this real quick and I'll be right back. I just want you to see the first 2 minutes of this little intro here. Let me take down, but I want to show you guys this, anyone who may have missed this. Let's play this here. So there you have it. That was my little intro. You can check out that video on my YouTube page. It is there. So let's start off. We're going to show the actual tour dates and zoom in here. Thank you, Amy. I'm funny. I have a sense of humor. I get it from both sides of my family. What I love about my family is most of my family doesn't drink. I'm one of the few people that will have a beer here and there or drink. My family is just so silly. You'll see people passed out laughing, and most people aren't even drinking at our cookouts. It is just an awesome time. But so these dates, okay? Let's get to Kaylee's question first. I want to get this out of the way so I don't forget it. So how likely do you think this is a new album? I have to give credit to the folks in the antsmarching.com forums because they brought this up. The last couple of albums, Come Tomorrow, Away from the World, Big Whiskey, when the album came out, they went to the Hollywood Bowl. So look at the last two dates right here. 2 dates for the Hollywood Bowl. So because there are dates referring to the Hollywood Bowl, I believe there is an album coming because the last couple of albums, there's been the Hollywood Bowl. And Luke says, Marcus reacting to Marcus, talk about DMV for a sec. Yeah, because I had the clips. I had the clips of me recorded for the intro of the clip of me talking about the tour, and I'm reacting to that too. But let's walk you through this here. So we go to the DMB Almanac. Let's actually go here, DMB Almanac. I'm going to show you this. You guys can see this. So 2022, obviously we know we have the Hollywood Bowl. Let's look at the history of the Hollywood Bowl. 2018. Oh, gee, what was the last album to come out? 2018, right? 9/10, 2008. They did 2 nights here. Or no, just one. Was it? No, just one night. So they closed out the tour, busted out the song debut of When I'm Weary, and we got an album. Come Tomorrow, it came out that year. Now let's go back to our main page here. 2012, Away from the World. Now, this wasn't the last show because we had a winter tour, but we had Hollywood Bowl shows. So again, or a single one. So we have Hollywood Bowl, 9/12/2012. Right? And now they didn't have some other shows here because obviously the Hollywood Bowl wasn't something they were doing in your history. Right. So there wasn't an album in 2010, right? Big Whiskey came out in 2009. And 2006, 07, there weren't shows. But the last three, we zoom in here, the last three, 2012, 2012 and 2018, we had an album come out. So I believe that we are getting an album just because of that history. That's what I believe. I believe we're getting this because of the history. The next thing, oops, you guys don't want to see the MSN.com. The next thing we want to look at is the shows, the main venues that were not part of this that really are kind of a little bit of a shock. You know, Joe Burrow has a historic game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Joe Burrow takes his team to the Super Bowl, and Cincinnati doesn't get a show in Riverbend. Now, there will be a show in Blossom, right? But Riverbend did not get a show. This is the first time since 2001. Take away 2017 when it was Dave and Tim. Take away 2011, the Caravan. Outside of those kind of years where the full band didn't tour. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for coming and checking in. Have a good rest of your evening. Really appreciate your support. But Riverbend hasn't had a no-show in a full season summer of touring since 2001. Again, we don't count the Caravan. And they're not on here. Luke says Riverbend kind of sucks. I haven't been personally. I know there's like AstroTurf on the lawn, right? There's AstroTurf on the lawn there. Let me see if I can pull up Riverbend. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so you guys can kind of see right here. This is a turf, right? It's an older venue. It's also it's right on the river, obviously, that separates Kentucky and Ohio. There's the Cincinnati River. Ohio River? Is it the Ohio River? I believe it's the Ohio River. And let me show you. This thing does flood. I remember this a couple of years ago. This was Riverbend, right? This is Riverbend when it flooded. The whole thing flooded. And that was crazy. And so this thing, it is uh and yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. And actually let's yeah, we'll, we'll play some Blue Water. Rest in peace to Riverbend. We have come here to say goodbye to Riverbend Streak. Here lies a venue without DMB for 2022. One day they will come back, but hey, at least Joe Burrow and the Bengals are in the Super Bowl, right? Yes, that's Brown Water, but we don't want to play a song about brown. All right, that's it. I would have cut that off. All right, so Riverbend, that's the first one that we're missing. We're going to talk about the Southeast. Ryan says they were planning a fall release last year. They added MSG shows, maybe dipping back into the older material. Yeah, that's true. So we'll get to that in a second too. But we do have Riverbend was cut. Chicago was cut, but Chicago is a poor venue, right? They had in Chicago, when they have Alpine, they don't have Chicago. It's one of those things where they kind of pick one mark. Like they have Milwaukee and Chicago the years they don't have Alpine in this current era. So Chicago wasn't picked, but Alpine isn't far from certain Chicago suburbs of the north, right? And west, right? So it's still a drive. It's still out in the middle of nowhere, right? It's not going to have as many people from the suburbs go in to Chicago versus even driving to Milwaukee or driving to downtown Chicago. You're going to get people that want to go to these places where there's stuff to do versus Alpine. The diehards will go to Alpine, but some of the fair weather fans aren't going to make it out to Alpine, right? And Pittsburgh, Burgettstown, PA is out of the suburban PA. Now, what's kind of crazy, I'm not saying this is the reason, but Pittsburgh's had a rough week, right? We can look up Pittsburgh, bridge collapse, right? The Penguins aren't the contenders they used to be. The Steelers suck, even though they made the playoffs. This actually happened in Pittsburgh. There was a video I saw of them moving that red bus right over here. You can see my mouse. Pittsburgh's had a tough week. But seriously, I'm glad no one's hurt in this, and I hope everyone's okay there. But what's interesting about Pittsburgh, from what I heard, if you guys go back to my show, where I interviewed someone that goes to Burgettstown every year, Riverbend's not a Live Nation venue. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, venue and band couldn't come to an agreement, and that's why I heard there was delays. They were trying to lock in certain stuff for the announcement, and yeah, I'm sure the venue's like, yo, DMB, y'all not 2000 DMB. Y'all don't have a violin. Oh, they have until April. So John's breaking news. Shout out to John. He's got connects. John if this was a mafia, John would be a made man in the DMB community, right? You don't just smack a made man, you get killed for that, right? Although I give him a hard time about all these shows he says he's gonna go to. I ain't gonna go to any. John, every year, and this is what I've heard from other people. Oh, I'm only going to 5-10 shows next year. And listen, I only go to like a couple of shows every year myself. I'm only going to 4 shows. And then all the shows come out. Oh, I'm going to that one. I'm going to that one. I'm going to that one. Anyway, so they have until April to figure out Riverbend. So you heard it here from John Dix again. He's got solid. Yeah, he's a capo in the DMB family, in the Matthews family. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So Mark says, when have they added headline shows after the tour start? They in 2020 they added between 2020 and 2021 they added some dates. Um, they added festivals. I don't know of a normal show though. That's a good question. If John knows, Luke said he went to Star Lake last year. It's all right. The parking and car situation is great, but the sound isn't great. But see, the Live Nation venues, most of the sound is trash at the Live Nation venues. You have your Blossoms and your Spacs. I'm sure it was maybe worse than normal. But Pittsburgh or Burgettstown, there was a lot of great things that went on there as far as the show, as far as the energy of people leaving that show, commenting on the videos. People said it was a good show. And to me, I looked at it and it was a good show. John, do you want to call in? Actually, John, what we're going to do, because we have till 8 o'clock tonight, because I'm trying to cut this short so we have content for tomorrow. John, we're going to have you call in either Wednesday. I'll talk to you on the side. Wednesday or Friday. So hold your information, talk to your connects, see if you can get some video. If you can get a phone call of red light management and the Riverbend people arguing on the phone, please let us know. Email me at concertviz34@snitch.com. Now that's a fake email. But yeah, we'll get to you, John. We'll actually, if you can give us the details for Wednesday or Saturday, and we'll get you in. And then also, yeah, so Riverbend, Chicago, Pittsburgh. Now let's look at this. So Mark says no Tinley, no Maryland Heights, no Oregon, no Cincy. So to me, Tinley does get shows when Alpine is there. So we have seen that they'll go to Tinley Park, Illinois. It's just outside of Chicago. They'll go there and they'll go Alpine, but no Tinley Park this year. But Tinley's not a mainstay. Maryland Heights, Missouri is again it's a hit or miss, right? Tinley Park, Maryland Heights is kind of like a oh, you're gonna talk about how many shows? Yeah, John, we'll get you in. We'll get you in for Wednesday or Saturday. We can talk about that. Oh, you wanted to call, yeah. Unless you're gonna send some Skrilla, John, send a donation. Send $100 donation, then we'll let you in. Hit the Cash App, ConcertViz34, then we'll let you in. But Maryland Heights, Missouri is like a side chick for the band. They don't play it, especially in the last couple of years. They have played it for sure, right? Then they played in 19, but they don't play it every year. Like they didn't play it in 21. So it's one of those things where but it is a venue that people do want to go to. St. Louis is a big, John said $1. I don't take dollar super chats. I will send you the dollar back respectfully. I don't take dollar super chats or dollar cash apps. But Maryland Heights, St. Louis is a market that loves D&B, and Kansas City as well. But they just don't get shows as frequently. So those are the no shows. And then let's go to some of the other stuff. Let's go to Ryan's comment here. He says, seems like they were planning a fall release last year. They added MSG shows, maybe dipping back into the older material caused a delay, but it's coming at some point this year. So here's the thing about last year. It could have been one of two things. I don't know if it was a fall release that pushed the Mohegan show. So Mohegan was supposed to be Tuesday and Wednesday. But except they changed the Wednesday show to Monday and they kept the Tuesday show as is. I don't know if it was that or if it was an album release or it's because the DraftKings CEO wanted to throw a party for, I believe it was his wife. So I think I'm more likely to think they weren't going to release an album in the fall. You would have seen promotion for the album well before. They would have been playing more, like they would have been talking about this songs from the new album. But I really think it was like the DraftKings change because they switched the Wednesday Mohegan show to Monday. So they did Monday, Tuesday for Mohegan. and then they then went to go play at Gillette Stadium, and they probably made it like just over $1 million, if not more, to play that show. So they're like, hey, we're gonna play this show for this wealthy DraftKings CEO, and then we're gonna go ahead and then take that money and then go to MSG. So that was, oh yeah, they played Wednesday at Gillette Stadium. Oh, no, Thursday. Wait, Hegan. No, they played Thursday at Gillette Stadium. So they took the day off, right? They wanted to get a break after Mohegan Sun Night 2, get a day off, and then they play in Gillette Stadium for a smaller show, right? And they had just 12 songs. And then they did MSG night 1, MSG night 2. So I think that's really what it is I really think it was that versus an album, because I initially thought they were going to release an album because they moved the Mohegan show, but I think it was the Gillette Stadium thing that they got it. You know, those private shows, when they moved mountains for that show, and they probably got a nice piece of chunk of change there to play that show. What else did we have? So Mark says, I'm here to talk about the Southeast. Always wanted 2 night stands, and we have 3 this tour. Yes. And as I say, I say the Jacksonville shows are not Florida shows. Those are Georgia shows. Jacksonville is not in Florida. Jacksonville is in South Georgia, right? They could change the map tomorrow and make the border at Duval County. Once you leave Duval, like Duval County should be in Georgia. The rest of Florida is still Florida, right? So you go, you take that parcel of land in Duval County, it's Georgia. But we have West Palm Beach for 2 nights. We have Charleston, South Carolina for 2 nights, and Jacksonville for 2 nights. And that's just the Southeast. We also have a 3-night run for the Woodlands, Austin, the Woodlands, and Dallas. And even though those are different venues, that's 3 shows to start off the tour there. And they've done that before. But when you combine the Texas 3-step with the West Palm Beach, Charleston, and Jacksonville's runs there, that's a heck of a thing. And for those of you guys who let's take a look at these here. So let's take a look at all these 3-night runs. So the first one is West Palm Beach. So if we zoom in on West Palm Beach, we have Tampa a little before that too. But we have these West Palm Beach shows. What's crazy about these shows is they moved them to Memorial Day weekend. I think this should have been done. I don't know if they could get the venue that early before, but this should have been done years ago. It should have been done years ago if they could have done it. Maybe that's the issue logistically. You now have people Memorial Day weekend. You still have Northerners up here in the Northeast that some of them are still down in the southern part in Florida, right? Central Florida, South Florida, and Western Florida. So you still have people who are living there waiting until June to really move back up north. So you have some older fans or people who have a little bit of money. There's going to be people that want to travel this. You're going to also have people that want to fly from anywhere in the country to go down here for Memorial Day weekend as well. Because I think a small percentage of people are snowbirds, as they call them, that are just northeastern people that live in Florida for the summer. For the winter. That's not really going to be a lot of DMB yet but there are some people that are retiring that were DMB fans since the early 90s, right? And Stupid Almanac, he says he's taking the year off, just had a baby. I'm retired and deactivated. Hey, congratulations though on the new child. You had messaged me about that. That's awesome. And listen, I'm planning to have I'm not married yet, but I'm planning to, I want to have children soon, right? So I will probably be reducing a tour if I have a child in the next couple of years. But I'm not Nick Cannon. I don't be getting all these girls pregnant without being married. Nick Cannon has like 30 kids now. Anyway, I digress. So this West Palm Beach, this is an awesome thing. And that's a good point. First, Mark says the first time they have taken off 2 days between Tampa and West Palm Beach instead of 1 day. And what's interesting is the West Palm Beach is on a Sunday, so they have this Saturday, Sunday, right? Saturday, Sunday, and so does Alpine. Alpine is on a Saturday, Sunday as well. But as I said in my video, Alpine is going to be, they're going back and forth. They're going Midwest, East Coast, Midwest. It's a crazy swing. So they're taking an extra day off, which I get a Saturday off. So West Palm Beach, great venue. It's a staple in the tour circuit for DMB, and it's Memorial Day weekend. Next, we have Charleston. And if you know anything about what's going on in the South, South Carolina is the new Florida. Why? Because they have all this land. They're open to developing the land for cheap and building all these houses. And you have Northerners who are getting sick and tired of all these taxes, of the bad roads. Their kids are now graduated from college or graduated from high school, and they want to get the heck out of the Northeast, right? Everything is going up in the Northeast. Now, I still say, to me, the reason I want to be here, I would love to raise my kids in the Northeast because the schools. For what I had to pay in private schools down south, I can get a solid education in specific towns here in Connecticut or Massachusetts that to me is better than living down south for my future child's life. I'll take that any day of the week, right? But people are moving down south. I have a coworker he is in his 30s, right? His mid 30s. He was like, oh, maybe I'll wait a couple years. Now him and his wife are like, yo, we're sick of Connecticut. Like, we want to get some warm weather, these taxes, all this stuff. We can pay the taxes. That's not the point, though. It's ridiculous, all the stuff's going on. So Charleston, I say all that to say Charleston, South Carolina is going to drag people all across South Carolina who have been disconnected from the DMB tour circuit. They got to drive to Atlanta. They got to drive to Raleigh or Charlotte. But some people in South Carolina close to Raleigh are, they are Charlotte right across the border. Like if you're in Rock Hill, South Carolina, you're close to that. But still, 2 shows in Charleston are going to sell well. Fish has sold this well. Other bands and jam bands have sold this venue well. So we know DMB is going to fill these up. And as Mark says, Charleston Stadium is 7K to 11K capacity. So it is going to be a venue that sells out. And also, the thing about these Daly's Place, which we'll get to in a second, and Charleston, these are all seats. There is no lawn areas. So they're going to make more money on the lawn. On the seats, even though there's less people. And if you go to my show where I did the tour numbers, right, there were shows that had less seats but made more money than some of the amphitheaters with the lawn because they could charge more per person. And that's exactly what they're going to do. The get-in prices for Charleston and Jacksonville are going to be much higher than your average Cuyahoga show at Blossom or your Bristol or your Mansfield or Hartford show. Then we have Jacksonville, Florida, right? We have Jacksonville, Florida, and this is a 5,500 person venue. I remember this opened up, and just to show you, I want to show you on a map here. So this is actually this is built because of a football owner, Mr. Khan of the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this venue is on the campus of TIAA Bank Field. And this has been open for some time. Dave and Tim did it in 2017. I remember Tedeschi Trucks Band, Derek Trucks, he's a resident of Jacksonville. That's where he kind of calls home. That's funny. They got the NC State, Texas A&M. So they took this photo when they had a neutral site game here. But they also have the world's biggest cocktail party here, which is Florida versus Georgia, University of Florida versus University of Georgia. And that's why I call it Georgia South. They play this game here, and Georgia fans really dominate this city. Unless when Florida is really good, they get some bigger turnouts. But Georgia fans literally will overwhelm Florida fans. It can be pretty even, but it's the world's biggest cocktail party, as it's called. It's a huge party. If you love college football and drinking, I strongly recommend you go down there, even though I've never been personally. But Daly's Place is right here. It's on the campus of this. So Mr. Khan built this as part of his little empire here. And it's a very intimate venue. Look how close. This is at the back, right? They had a boxing match. Now that's This is the venue. Look at this. Now they did some this is wrestling, so that's not a good example, but the venue, this is so the upper decks, these are the upper decks, they're pretty small. So this is a very intimate venue. And you're gonna have 5,500 seats here. And again, you're gonna have great sight lines from these decks. Up here, the amphitheater doesn't go far back. So it is like you're gonna get some nice views from here at Daly's Place. So those are three great ones that we're getting. We're getting Hartford back. I'm excited for that. And the Toronto show. So Mark, I believe Mark said something about I'm surprised there's no Vancouver. So I think they're testing the waters with Toronto. And this is the thing logistically, the reason that Toronto is the most likely venue, Toronto is so close to Michigan that when they do Clarkson, so you look at so you can look at Pine Knob, oops, Pinky Knob, Pine Knob. Yes, Hartford is back. It's going to be exciting, and I hope to meet some of you guys there. That are some people are making trips back to Hartford. Oops, Pine Knob. We got to do music. Okay, and then was it the Molson? Is it still Molson Amphitheater? What is it called? Yeah. So yes, this is 4 hours, right? This is a 4 hour drive, but the border is right here, right? You drive up, or you could take this way, right? Actually, they probably, I don't know what way the trucks would take. I don't know Canada well enough, but I wonder if they would take this way or that way. Anyway, it's a 4 hour drive, but really what they can do is so the next show after Toronto, they have 2 days. What's interesting, they only have one day to cross the border. So they're going to have to do a border crossing. This is still kind of tight. Um, it's almost like they probably had to book what they could book. So they have an overnight to get to Toronto. So the thing about this show, if there is some sort of mandate, if there's issues at the border, it could hold up the show. The most important thing I'm worried about as a hockey fan, if you looked at hockey games, Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators, in December with the variant rising, they restricted crowds to nobody in Montreal. And they did 50, they were initially said 50%, I think, in Toronto. I think it ended up being no one there for a couple of weeks. But if they have a mandate that says, look, we only can have crowds of 5,000 people or less, or 1,000 people or less, this show could be canceled. I'm telling you, Justin Trudeau, although his politics and Dave's politics probably line up, they're so far left it's right? Just because they're like, and also it's the Ontario government. They don't care about Dave Matthews, right? It'd be one thing if it was like the Stanley, because here's the thing. Toronto and Montreal, Quebec, and British Columbia and Alberta, when they cut hockey out for the playoffs and like the bubble, they had a bubble and they didn't let fans back. That tells you all you need to know about the governments. If they're not going to let hockey slide, they're not going to let a Dave Matthews Band show slide in the summer. It's hockey is the economic entertainment powerhouse of Canada. So the fact that they're not going to be doing that for hockey, again, some of these games, it was Bruins, Canadians. That's like Giants, Eagles. That's like Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn. Montreal Canadiens, Boston Bruins. There were only 6 teams in the NHL until 1967. Decades. And Montreal and Boston are the most like bitter old school rivals. Canada versus USA, the local Canadian players versus the local Boston players back in the day, because most of the teams, they had players from other countries, but most of the teams, like their local prospects, were all local. The guys they would really get access to were local to build their farm system. So anyway, I say that to say they canceled fans at that game, which is one of the biggest games of the season, Canadiens Bruins at Montreal. So I'm just saying there's a possibility this could be stopped. I'm not saying it's going to be, but it could be. And whereas in the United States, we have seen New York City Dave Matthews Band went on, and then Billy Joel, right as the Omicron was going up, the mayor was telling people, hey, go to Billy Joel tonight, go to Broadway tonight, go to all this stuff. And then, like, a couple days later, they did start to shut certain things down. Fish canceled their New Year's run, but they tried to get as much bang for their buck financially. And New York is strict. New York, you can't breathe without a license, right? You got to have you can't, if you don't have a vaccine card, you can't do anything, right? You can't look at somebody without a vaccine card in New York City. But they said, look, financially, we need to have these shows as close to the edge as we can. And they did that. They got the Billy Joel show, and there were some other events all across the city for certain nights. And then they had to shut it down because Omicron was crazy. You couldn't get a test. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see what happens there for that. Again, we're going to have more time to talk about this on Wednesday. One of the other interesting things, we have a Charlotte on May 20th and a Raleigh on July 22nd. Raleigh had some things booked where I think it was hard to get it that time of year. So what's cool is if you're in North Carolina, I have family in Wake County, North Carolina, and I know they're gonna get a show in Raleigh in July, but if you want to go see the band at the beginning, you can go to Charlotte. So that's going to be a cool thing because, like, in the Northeast, we always get that, but in the Southeast and in the South, you may have one show that's within a decent drive, and that's it. In the West, definitely, you're only getting, the West Coast only gets the end of the tour. You don't get an early show in the West Coast. So that's what's interesting about it, is you're not going to get a bunch of stuff there. And Camden does make the cut. Camden's in July. So they did move West Palm Beach to May. Camden's in July. I'm glad for them. Philly. Camden is just across the river from Philadelphia. It's part of the Philadelphia metropolitan area. So it's pretty much Philly. So it's going to be awesome. Tailgate Caravan. Good people. I met them at the Gorge. They're going to be having an awesome tailgate there. So there'll be more information. I'll probably promote that closer to the date. But they do some awesome fundraising for some awesome charities and organizations, not just during the DMV tour year, but year round. So shout out to them. But let me go back to the breakdown. There was a breakdown on here. See if I can find it. But the South region actually has the most shows. They're getting a lot of love. Let's see if we can move the needle. I'm just looking through the form. Again, shout out to antsmarching.org. It's a great community. The lawn is now $50 plus fees, though, depending on where you go. And we'll be going throughout the week. At some point, we're going to get some more. So Christopher says, where can you see the full tour list? I'll give you a couple of links here. I'm going to post them right here. This is the Twitter post from DMB Gorge Crew. They are awesome. Shout out to DMB Gorge Crew. Also, you can go to the DMB Almanac. You can go to DaveMatthews.com. I'm going to show the Dave Matthews here. Victoria says you're very excited. I am excited too, Victoria, and thank you for coming on. And hope you join us for other streams. I haven't seen you here before. And Christopher, I don't think I've seen you. It's good to see you're on here. And thank you everyone who's just joining me for the first time or typically doesn't check in. I really appreciate the support. Hit the like button. If you're new, 10 p.m. Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Saturdays, you can watch the replay of those streams anytime. So I do them a little later for the Wednesday and Saturday nights streams. And then after the shows, I typically will call somebody who's at the show, and you can look at those on my archives of videos. We'll talk to them after the show, or if I went to the show on the road, I'll be at the hotel with the review, or I'll be back home. If I can drive back home or fly back home, I'll do that. But those are two links where you can see the tour setup right there. And then you have the DMB Almanac, which is a great resource. So let me put that down here as well in the chat. But I like the DMB Gorge crew and some of the other groups on Twitter and Instagram. They kind of make this thing out really quickly, and they give it to you on two. You can look at it at just the page, right? You can see everything on the page right there. Boom. Um, so Camden, Guilford's there, Bethel is there. Bethel, New York is back. Syracuse does not get a show, but really SPAC covers Syracuse. I know it's a little bit of a drive, but Syracuse, SPAC will get, it's a weekend. It's one of the best weekends of the year. So you'll get those fans to drive up there. Also, the Syracuse venue, I think the venue could have been better. Obviously, in New York City, it's hard to build a venue and afford to finish it. And I just think the venue's a little smaller. It could have been done a little better. It is new. There's a parking lot across the street at the fairground, so it's not ideal for DMB. Merriweather does not come back, but that was just kind of a first one in a while. And you have Camden. So Camden's going to be your thing. So sorry, Maryland, you don't get shows. You also have Bristol, Virginia there. No Oregon, but Oregon isn't, again, recently they have been kind of liking it. Now they're kind of off it. If we get to the West Coast here, the West Coast, what's interesting about the West Coast is we have Fiddlers. There was rumors that some 2-night stands would become 1-night stands. That didn't really become true. Everything that was 2 nights last year is 2 nights this year. Now Hartford isn't Mohegan, so obviously it's 1 night. And I heard to stay tuned, there could be some fall dates, right, as well. So there could be Mohegan could get back in there for the fall/winter. But Fiddlers gets 2 nights. No Red Rocks. People were kind of hoping what Dead and Company did, similar size audience as DMB. Also, sales-wise, they're in the same ballpark, ticket-wise, ticket sales and gross sales. They did 2 nights at Red Rocks and 2 nights at Fiddlers. So they did that. So if you couldn't get tickets to Red Rocks, you could go to Fiddlers and still see a show because Red Rocks is hard to get. I think what would be cool is because the logistics of getting the stage set up at Red Rocks is a pain. That's why they don't do it anymore. But if they did 2 Dave and Tim shows at Red Rocks and they did 2 Fiddler shows, that'd be an awesome little convention if they could ever do that for like a 4 days in a row. We also get Phoenix back, and this is the theme that I don't know if DMB is doing this on purpose, but you're seeing a lot of shows in markets that are growing that have a lot of people moving to them. So you have Austin, Texas, right? You have Jacksonville, Florida, but Florida in general, people are still moving there. Charleston, South Carolina, and Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, people are leaving California. And now California is still crowded. People are, California is going to be in trouble. Now, California always is going to have people there because of Hollywood. There's literally all these people left California and the traffic's still bad. During the pandemic, the worst traffic in the country was in LA, right? New York City went down. All the metros, Houston and Dallas and all these big metroplexes, everything went down. But LA, and we end the shows end in Southern California. They have 4 shows there. They still have a lot of traffic. But Phoenix is it's been growing for 20, 25 years. And it grew a little before that as well. They had to get all the highways. A lot of the highways in Phoenix are very new because as far as highway age, because they had to fix the traffic problem. And Phoenix continues to grow. There are people, I have coworkers there. My mom used to have an office, direct reports that were out of Phoenix as well. And she used to go there quarterly for the people who report to her. And it is growing. It just won't stop growing. And it's really getting out of control. There's a whole water situation. The water does not, sometimes of the year, the water does not flow to the Pacific Ocean from the Colorado River, which runs through Arizona because they're using so much of it. But anyway, Phoenix it's great to see that. I know there's a couple people out there in Phoenix that have followed me, and they're going to get a show Buddy's hometown as well. So this will be the second show in the last 4 years in Phoenix, and Buddy will have his hometown crew there, which will be awesome for him. He'll really get his flowers. His kids could probably see him. I sat next to Buddy's friends at a show at the Gorge, and I wish I would have known before. They told me during the show when the music was playing, I would have asked them like, "Hey, how do you know him?" Or if they don't mind me ask, how do you know him? Got some information, just to see what they think of him as really close family or friends. But we have a lot of California dates. We have 4 California dates: 2 Chula Vista, Mountain View, and 2 Hollywood Bowls. The Hollywood Bowl may be a destination. I don't think I'm going to go to. I really don't. It's doubtful. I want to go to California at some point, but it's expensive. So to invest in Alpine, to invest in potentially Deer Creek, to go to all these shows, and then Hollywood, I would have to do this on a year where I'm not going to be going to all these Midwest stops from there. So it is, that's where we're at. Now, again, tune in tomorrow. What we're going to do, we're going to go over the warehouse pricing. So I got my warehouse account here. You guys can see it. We're going to go over the pricing. We're going to look to bring in John and get his thoughts and opinions about shows he's going to, if he has any information about Riverbend. But we have all these shows. There's different prices for different shows. So, oops. So let's see if they're back up. This thing was crashing. So, this lawn is $49, for instance, for Cynthia Woods. That's in Houston, Woodlands. But you see, like 135. We're gonna go through some of these here, and we're gonna see the price levels. 135. They're really. I looked at some of them this morning, and a lot of them are very different. Oh, also, we'll talk about Lakewood. They moved the show from Alpharetta, which is a smaller show in this northern suburbs, and they had this downtown. I mean, in the Atlanta city limits. It's not downtown, but it's in the city of Atlanta. You have this. So you have $53 for this lawn. So it's interesting. They're doing much more variable pricing. You've had pricing a little different. Mohegan Sun, a Madison Square Garden ticket price or a winter tour ticket price could be a little different than the summer by a little bit. But for like the best pit or the closest lowers, so they do vary, but you have different price points, and we'll go over those for tomorrow. So 10 p.m. tomorrow, tune in. We'll get a little more into what's going on there. I appreciate everyone for rocking with me tonight. Again, you can follow me on YouTube, ConcertViz34, Twitter. Let me put this stuff up here. Twitter and Instagram, ConcertViz34, and it's 8 p.m. So we're gonna go over to Trish. She should be live soon. But I want you guys to go on Instagram and check out Trish DMB. Actually, let me see. Let me see if anyway, I'm gonna see if she's going live, but she's supposed to be going live at 8 p.m. And so you guys can talk to her. She's awesome, really cool, real down to earth, very friendly. But again, tune in tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll continue this conversation. I appreciate you guys for coming on. Chippy D says, have I requested my tickets yet? Not yet. I'm going to do that in a second. I know that the site was down. Like the site wouldn't let you make changes to your request if you accidentally hit the wrong button. So I'm kind of letting things die down. They don't pick people based on when you requested your tickets. It's random, allegedly, right? And then seniority kicks in for certain tour dates and certain seat assignments, right? So, like I said, tune in 10 p.m. Eastern. If you miss it, it's always on YouTube. I get people have lives, people are busy, and it is what it is, but you can always watch the replay. Leave a comment, hit the like button, folks. If you guys haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. That allows my video to get higher up. Share this video, tell your friends to join in. If you're going to a show, let me know. If you want to be on the show to talk about certain stuff, we can hit you a link, send you a link. If you're going to a live show that I'm not going to, I may message some of you guys. I want to talk to you guys after the show. If give you a cell phone call or send you a link for your phone, I can send you a link to join the show from there. because that's awesome when we get that live reaction. That's really what I do during the tour. I take videos of the shows I go to for certain songs, not the whole thing, because I like to enjoy some of it. And then I try to get these post shows to kind of have like any sports talk radio after the Bengals game or after the Chiefs game. They talk about it. They talk about it that night. They talk about it Monday morning, Tuesday morning, right after the big game. That's what I'm trying to create here. Just conversations with you guys. Have this. I'm the only person doing this on YouTube. And I really wish we could get more people on here to share about DMB on a more frequent basis. But hey, I'll do it. I'll do it if no one else will. Again, shout out to everyone. DMB Gorge Crew, DMB Memes, Trish DMB, Brianna Brianna on Instagram, antsmarching.org. Again, great people out there. But that is it. We're going to end here on some music. Let's see if I can get this set up. As we do every show, we're going to end on a DMB song, and I like to pull up the bats and sessions, but let's actually let's see. Actually, what we're going to say, we're going to end on American Baby intro from the Hollywood Bowl in honor of this Hollywood Bowl resurgence. Is coming back, and I think that means we're getting an album, and it's okay that we don't have an album announcement. We'll talk more about that as well. But in previous years, we didn't have, oh, this is coming out right now. Like we didn't have the full album come tomorrow at this time during 2018. So I'm gonna play this, and that's our show for it right now. Go to tune in to Trish DMB 23. Again, Trish DMB 23. I'm gonna put this on here so you guys can see it as we go out to right there. Follow her. And but we're gonna play this. Where is this? American Baby intro.
She said, she said, she said, she said.